Your furnace blows cold air, and your air conditioner doesn't. The water seems to go everywhere you don't want it to, and your kitchen and bath haven't been remodeled since the 50s. Well, welcome to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Kansas City has depended on Dick Ray and Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating and Cooling to solve heating, cooling, plumbing, and remodeling problems for over 50 years. All you need to do is call 576-7798. And now the Master Plumber with a degree in mechanical engineering is here to help. Here's the potentate of pipes, the Earl of Electricity, the Emperor of Air, the Imperial Poobah of Plumbing, the Grand Toileteer, the Master Plumber, Dick Ray.
And good morning. Man, I'm in a good mood today. I feel good. I mean, the weather is great. I mean, it usually is in the fall, but it's nice weather, and I've been working outside all weekend, taking advantage of the nice weather. And last night I went into Timber Creek, the local, I guess you'd call it the local restaurant / watering hole in Lewisburg, and I ran into some friends there. Some of them I hadn't seen in a couple of years, and it was just a lot of fun. I had a good time. It was good reconnecting and all that. And anyway, I'm in a good mood, so I think I've got an interesting topic today. Energy efficiency. Everybody and their brother talks about energy efficiency, and there's a lot of products on the market. And of course, energy efficient furnaces and air conditioners I've talked about quite a bit before in the past. That's a pretty important topic, actually, because in most homes, the furnace and air conditioner is the biggest energy user in the house, and so that's an important topic. Today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different, energy efficiency in water heaters and coming changes that I hear are coming. So going to talk about that for a little bit, and then we're going to get to the phones and answer your questions. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines right now so that you can grab a line later on in the show. A lot of times if you call, you get a busy signal, and that's not a good thing. But if you call right now, you're guaranteed to get an open line, because almost all the lines are open now. So if you call right now, you're guaranteed to get in, and I'll be glad to talk to you and try and help you out with whatever your problem is, or whatever question you have, or whatever funny noise that your furnace is making, or anything like that. Anyway, the line, the number if you'd like to get in is open, and the number is 576-7798. If you give us a call right now, guaranteed to get in, 576-7798. Well, anyway, here we go on high-efficiency water heaters. And I'm going to start by saying, did you realize that it's been 32 years now since Lennox invented the pulse combustion type furnace? Now, you may or may not remember that. I certainly do. That was kind of a landmark in the furnace business. Up until Lennox invented the pulse furnace, all furnaces had been at best 80% efficient, and then whoa, here comes Lennox, and they've got a furnace that's 97% efficient, completely different than anything else that I, as a furnace installer, had ever worked with before. These furnaces hadn't been available before. And it was kind of a neat deal, and it was especially neat because I was a Lennox dealer, and I had something that nobody else had. If you weren't a Lennox dealer, you couldn't offer a 97% efficient furnace. Of course, that didn't last very long. Pretty soon, everybody had one. But anyway, it's been 32 years now since Lennox introduced the pulse combustion type furnace. Again, it was the very first high-efficiency furnace with efficiency levels as high as 97, maybe 98%. And since then, of course, all manufacturers have jumped on the bandwagon with high-efficiency furnaces of their own. High-efficiency furnaces, they just make good sense. They're not hard to sell. They cost more, but they save so much energy. And the federal government didn't have to pass a law forcing manufacturers to make high-efficiency furnaces. I mean, Lennox invented the pulse furnace just because it made good sense to do so, and they knew that they could sell them. Heating and air conditioning systems in a home, like I said, are by far the biggest energy users in almost all homes. Heating and air conditioning systems make for big electric and gas bills, and Lennox could see that it wouldn't be difficult to sell a furnace to homeowners, which would, in almost all cases, cut at least a third, maybe a half off of their gas bills. The Lennox Pulse furnace was good for homeowners, and it was profitable for Lennox because the public wanted this new furnace, which cut their gas bills so much. So the free market economy worked the way it's supposed to. Lennox invented the furnace because they knew that the public would like it. And now water heaters. Water heaters, on the other hand, well, they just don't use that much energy in comparison to your heating and cooling system. And because of that, we haven't seen much change over the last 32 years is when they invented the pulse furnace. Not much change over the last 32 years in the efficiency of water heaters. There have been minor changes that are forced on manufacturers of water heaters by the federal government. For example, water heaters used to be wrapped in fiberglass insulation, but now they're all foam insulated, which is a better insulation, and they're foam insulated because federal law pretty much requires that now. But there haven't been any really major changes in water heater efficiency, and let's face it, most people just don't get that excited about reducing the size of their bill for heating hot water, because generally the bill for heating their hot water just isn't that big. I mean, look at your summertime gas bill when your furnace is not on. Not very big ordinarily. Certainly not near as big as your energy bills for heating and air conditioning. So most water heater manufacturers just don't get all that excited about developing a mainstream high-efficiency water heater that would cost a bunch of money and be hard to sell to a public that just doesn't care all that much about reducing the tiny bill that they pay for heating hot water. Well, that's where the federal government enters a picture and decides that if we won't do it on our own, then they'll force us to buy energy-efficient water heaters, no matter what they cost. And that's kind of where we're at right now with residential water heaters, I think. Now, most residential water heaters last 10, 12 years, sometimes more than that, but average residential water heater lasts 10 or 12 years. So it's not a product which most folks buy very often. So by the time you need to buy something like a new water heater, you don't realize that the federal government required some expensive changes, say 8 years ago or whenever. All you know is that the water heater you're buying, whoa, it's a lot more expensive than the last one you bought. I mean, a lot more expensive. Well, the last time this happened in the world of water heaters was in the year 2003. Now, that's almost 12 years ago now, when the federal government decided to require manufacturers of water heaters to make extensive changes in residential water heaters, which made them cost a lot more. Of course, that's a given, isn't it? If you haven't bought a new water heater since then, you're in for a shock the next time you buy a water heater. It's going to cost you probably a lot more than double what your last water heater cost you. Now, some of that's inflation, but certainly not all of it. I mean, the cost is going to be double or more. Now, that was 12 years ago that they made that last big change in water heaters, and it looks like the same type of thing is getting ready to happen again in 2015. Now, 2015, that's like, what, a month or two away? And the change in water heaters 12 years ago, it had to do with safety issues. This time, it's going to have to do with making the hot water heater more efficient, cheaper to operate, cheaper for gas bills, like furnaces are. Water heaters are going to be cheaper to operate. You're going to have lower gas bills. The difference is that reducing your furnace gas bill a third, that saves you a lot of money. So you're glad to pay more for the high efficiency furnace, and the federal government doesn't even really have to I mean, you don't have to buy a 95% efficient furnace, and yet that's a furnace that we sell almost all the time, just because it makes sense and people know that it costs more. But hey, it's okay to pay more for that big energy consumer, that furnace. Now, on the other hand, reducing the gas bill on your water heater 30%, well, that's nothing to get really excited about, because your water heating gas bill, I mean, it wasn't that much anyway. Hard to get excited about saving $5 or $10 a month on your water heating gas bill and paying all that extra money for the high efficiency water heater that the government forced down your throat, basically, because that's what's going to happen, I think. Surprise, surprise. Well, I'd better shut up before I say something I'll regret. But the bottom line is that it looks very likely that the next time your water heater leaks and you have to replace it, you'll be forced by law to put in a new water heater, which will be more efficient, but it won't save you much money, and it's probably going to cost a lot more to install. Unlike your current water heater, you're probably going to have to run electricity to it, 120-volt power, to run a small draft inducer motor and maybe power an ignition module and a control system on this new water heater. This same type of thing happened maybe 15, 20 years ago on commercial water heaters, which, on a commercial water heater probably makes more sense, because commercial water heaters generally use a lot more energy. A commercial water heater in a school or a restaurant or a car wash, that's a big energy user. So probably makes good sense to put an energy efficient water heater in a setting like that. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to say. If you have any questions about water heaters or about tankless water heaters or the coming changes in the world of water heaters, the phone lines are now open, so give me a holler right now. I guess better shut up. It looks like all the lines are lit up. But give me a call when somebody drops off here if you have questions. Or, of course, if you have questions about really anything else, call me. Or if you've got a question about something else mechanical in your home, or maybe you've got a do-it-yourself project you'd like to have a little bit of help with, of course, I'll be glad to talk about that kind of stuff too. I do the things we talk about on this show every day for a living, and that would include fixing and replacing broken air conditioners and furnaces and heat pumps and plumbing repairs, as well as replacement of leaking showers and stuff like that. So if I can pass on any information to you that will help, I'm more than glad to do it. Our number, if you'd like to reach us during the show, is 576-7798. Don't call right now because all the lines are lit up. Wait till somebody drops off. Anyway, give me a call. Again, if you want to jot the number down for when somebody drops off, it's 576-7798. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, and we're here every Sunday from 11 to noon on KMBZ. We're going to take a short break right now, and we'll be right back to the phones. This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. If you're like a lot of people and just hate your toilet because it gets plugged so frequently, and if you're at the point where you're saying, I'm sick of this, I want the best flushing toilet known to mankind, then you want a Gerber Ultra Flush toilet. It still only uses 1.6 gallons of water per flush, but that 1.6 gallons of water is stored in the toilet tank under pressure, and when it's released, you've never seen a flush that powerful in anybody's home. It's really dramatic. Often people will put things down toilets and public restrooms that they wouldn't in their own homes, like rags or handy wipes or tampons. Or maybe you have a family member with large, firm stools. Whatever the reason, if you really want the most powerful flush available, you want a Gerber Ultra Flush toilet. You can see the flush in the live models in my showroom, too. Gerber Power Flush toilets installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
Deep, rich, color finishes bring a whole new dimension to faucet design, and vibrant finish for life adds durable luster. Create a look that's all your own, from pure and elegant polished chrome to the sophisticated warmth of vibrant French gold. Mix textures or opt for color finish accents for the best of both worlds. Consider updating every faucet in the house. So many beautiful options to offer endless possibilities. See all the choices at the beautiful showroom of Dick Ray, the Master Plumber.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber at Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. As your furnace gets older, say 15 or 20 years old, the chances are much greater that it will develop a crack or a rust hole in the heat exchanger, which will allow fumes and carbon monoxide into your house, and that's dangerous. The good news is that it's relatively easy and inexpensive to test the heat exchanger of your old furnace for cracks and rust holes that would make it dangerous to operate. If your furnace is getting older and you're a little nervous about it, call me, and we'll test the heat exchanger to see if it's safe or not. It doesn't cost that much to get peace of mind. And if your old furnace is unsafe, we can give you prices on what it would cost to replace it with a new, more efficient model. Lennox furnaces installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
This is KMBZ
at 98.1 FM.
And we're back. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. And, one of the things I'm really lucky about, I'm lucky about a lot of things. All of us are. Just being born in this country is one of the biggest strokes of luck that anybody could have. But anyway, I am so lucky to have been able to make a good living in a business that I really enjoy doing every day. I like going to work every day. I like what I do, and I think I'm halfway decent at it. And anyway, that's been a lucky thing for me. That last commercial was talking about checking furnaces. Let me tell you a quick story. Yeah, I know you're saying this isn't going to be a quick story. Dick doesn't tell quick stories. But anyway, we went, this goes back 3 weeks maybe. I got a call right after the show from a lady who had a furnace, and it wasn't very old, and it was, good brand, and it was, I think, 8 or 10 years old, something like that. She said she had it tested, and they had a routine check done on it, which is smart. Beginning of the heating season, had a routine check done on it, and the furnace guy had told her that the heat exchanger was bad and it was unsafe to operate, and she needed a new furnace. And I don't know, she didn't trust him, I think, or I don't know about that, but she was leery about what he said. And I said, well, get a second opinion, and in all honesty, if the furnace is only 8 or 10 years old, if the heat exchanger is bad, that would be actually kind of unusual. Most times the heat exchanger fails when the furnace is 15 or 20 years old. Anyway, she had one of our technicians out there to check the furnace, and lo and behold, the heat exchanger was bad. And but we didn't replace the whole furnace. Usually when a heat exchanger is bad, it's such an expensive job that it doesn't make sense to just replace the heat exchanger, and so we'll replace the whole furnace. But when it's only 8 or 10 years old, and the heat exchangers, most of them are 15 or 20-year warranties. This one had a 20-year warranty, which means that we can get her a heat exchanger for free. That's what we did. Anyway, it's always a good idea to have your equipment tuned up so it'll be more efficient. But the most important part of the check is checking the heat exchanger, checking to make sure it hadn't got a leak in it that's going to put fumes and carbon monoxide into your house. And in this case, the check certainly paid off for this woman, because her heat exchanger had a leak in it, a pretty good one. Anyway, I'll shut up. Let's see. Looks like we got one open line now. Somebody had to drop off, so if you'd like to get in, right now's the time to do it. The number is 576-7798. Going to get to the phones. We'll start with Lynn here. Hi, Lynn. What can I do for you? Lynn, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. I've got a rental house that's vacant. All the utilities are off, and I'm wanting to winterize it. It's going to be vacant all winter.
Okay.
And I just got a couple of questions. I was thinking about putting I was cleaning out the garage and I found I had some window washer fluid, and I was thinking about using that to put in the P-trap.
Well, we don't use that. That's what we use is we just go down to Napa or the auto parts store and get some regular old antifreeze and dump a little bit of that down the traps and the toilet and everything. I think it's a little strong. I think it's stronger than the window washing antifreeze. And some of those window washing antifreezes are only good for 40 degrees. And I think I would recommend that you use just automobile.
Antifreeze.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking you were talking about water heaters, and that made me think, do I need to drain the water heater?
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea, although if it's in the basement, the likelihood of it freezing down there isn't very great. What I would do is I'd, of course, shut off the main water valve coming into the house. I think you said all the utilities were off anyway.
Yeah.
But then I would go around the house and I would turn on every single faucet, the outside hydrants. I'd flush all the toilets, and then try and open a faucet down in the basement so that all that water in the pipes throughout the house can drain down into the basement and drain out. And if you want to really do a good job, it's not a bad idea to get an air compressor and try and blow water out of some of the low spots that will trap water.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your help with that.
Okay.
I don't want stuff to freeze up.
Oh, man, really? Hey, here's another thing. You've had the utility shut off, and here's a word of caution. 2 different times in the last month, I've gotten calls from customers where we ended out because of their utilities being shut off. I think at least maybe both cases were cases where the tenant had the utility shut off and the landlord didn't even know about it. But if your gas is shut off, for over a year, a lot of times the gas company will require you, before they will turn on the gas for a new tenant, they'll require you to have a pressure test of all the gas lines in the house. Kind of an elaborate deal. You've got to disconnect the furnace and the water heater and cap them, and the gas stove and dryer, whatever there is in the house, and pressurize it with air pressure, and then you have to get a permit from the city, and the city inspector's got to witness the inspection, and then you got to hook everything back up, and it's kind of expensive to do that. And so I would encourage you, if it's, I don't know how long the utilities are going to be off, but if you think it might be over a year, before it gets even close to that, at 6 months or something, I think I'd get the gas turned back on and put it in your own name, if nothing else.
Okay, and you think the utility company might require that?
Yeah, they did 2 different times with 2 different customers of mine in the last month, and they both had to hire me to come out and pressure test it, and I left with a bunch of their money, which made me happy, but probably not them.
Oh, God. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind.
Okie doke.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You bet. Appreciate the call. Okay. Whoo, man, I don't know what's going on here. We've got 3 open lines, so that means pick up the phone, give us a call. We're going to break for the news. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Got lots of open lines and need you to pick up the phone and call me, and I'll try and answer whatever question you've got. The number is 576-7798. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. We're going to break for the news, and then we'll be back to the phones.
The most news, the most traffic, the most weather. 24/7. KMBZ. Kansas City.
11:31 in Kansas City from the KMBZ Newsroom. I'm Cody Tapp. Seizures of homemade methamphetamine labs are down nearly half in many high-use meth states, but the use of the drug remains high because of imported Mexican meth. Data compiled by the Associated Press shows the meth lab busts are down 40% this year in Tennessee, 50% in Oklahoma, and 34% in the state of Missouri. Kansas school district that has equipped high school students and middle school students with laptops and computers tablets is finding its wireless network a little overwhelmed. The Derby Informer reports the problem is most acute during the 42-minute advisory period, an afternoon at Derby High School. The school's roughly 2,000 students were issued laptops in the past year, and the advisory period is at peak time for accessing the wireless network. Now your forecast from KMBZ staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Breezy today, plenty of sunshine, high around 64, 47 for the overnight low tonight, and partly cloudy. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high around 67 with gusty wind. Veterans Day, much colder with a high around 40 and a mix of sun and clouds. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton, KMBZ Weather.
It's 55 up at KCI, 61 in Leavenworth, and 58 at your official weather station. I'm Cody Tapp. Stay connected at 98.1 FM KMBZ and at KMBZ.com.
This is Dick Ray, the master plumber at Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. A sewer odor in your home can be downright embarrassing and tough to find, too. Because you can't see the odor, a lot of plumbers don't know how to deal with them, but I do. You know, my dad was a very smart man, and 40 years ago, he invented and fabricated equipment to make those pesky sewer odors visible and easy to find using smoke from industrial smoke bombs. For over 40 years, we've used the equipment my dad invented to find sewer odors that other plumbers have just given up on. With this smoke testing equipment, we've even found hidden sewer odors, leaks inside of walls, sometimes under floors, hidden away in attics, or even underground. If you have an embarrassing sewer odor and want it found by someone who knows what they're doing, give me a call. Sewer odors, located and repaired by Dick Ray, the master plumber, the best that money can buy.
Kohler products offer intrinsic quality born of tradition, skills passed down through generations combined with innovative techniques and timeless design to establish the enduring character for which Kohler is known. There is no substitute for the knowing hand that sculpts the rim of a pedestal lavatory or the eye that precisely measures the thickness of enamel on red-hot Kohler cast iron as if by instinct. The experience is bold. The experience is art. This experience is the bold look of Kohler. See it all at the showroom of Dick Ray, the Master Plumber.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber at Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. The biggest problem with repairing a broken sewer is figuring out exactly what the problem with the troublesome sewer is, and then, more importantly, pinpointing the exact location of the problem so that it can be either dug up under the basement floor or outside the house in the yard. Knowing what the problem is and where to dig is crucial to minimize costs and to minimize the amount of digging needed. We bought a sewer inspection camera years ago so that we can run it through your problem sewer to see where the problem is and to pinpoint exactly where to dig to minimize costs when we come back with our jackhammer to dig under your basement floor or come back with our backhoe to dig up your sewer outside. We do a lot of this kind of work, and we're good at it. Sewer Repairs by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
This is KMBZ
At 98.1 FM.
Okay, I didn't have it plugged in all the way. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Robert, he was polite about it, but he basically said, "Hey, dummy, turn your mic on." Oh, man, I'm getting too old, I guess. Anyway, hey, you're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, and looks like all the lines are lit up, so I'm going to shut up, and we're going to get to the phones. We'll start with Joseph in Overland Park. Hi, Joseph. What can I do for you?
Hey, good morning, Dick.
Good morning.
First, I have a little, hopefully it's not bragging, but state of fact. We've been in a home for 22, 3 years, and the water heater came in with the house, obviously. It was already in.
Yeah.
And we've been doing fine. So.
Oh, man, you better go knock on wood, because otherwise it'll start leaking today.
I'm speaking with you.
Okay.
Okay. So
every now and then we see one that's, 30 or 35 years old, but it's not very often.
It's an A.O. Smith.
Oh, okay. Now I get a chance to brag because that's the brand that I sell.
Right. So it's a good brand, as I understand.
Yeah, they're the best.
What is it, magnesium anodes?
Yeah, but the anode rods in a water heater, they don't last, I don't know. They make the water heater last longer, but they're pretty much done for after, I don't know, less than 10 years.
Right.
Anyway,
but I called to ask about a question about stools, where sometimes TP does not flush, but solid matter does flush.
Oh, really?
Yes. Is it from the TP? Is it? I mean, it's kind of strange.
Well, there's several possibilities. I mean, it could be just not a real good toilet. It could be that you're going to have to replace the toilet. But another possibility, and when we go out on a plugged up toilet, we'll open the toilet with a plunger, or we'll run a toilet auger through the toilet to open it up. And the last thing we do before we walk out the door is we flush toilet paper down the toilet. And the reason we flush a lot of toilet paper down the toilet to see if it will handle it, because sometimes the toilet will flush okay until you put toilet paper in it because of an obstruction in the trap of the toilet. If there's something in there, for example, like a pencil or a pen or a comb or something, the water will go right by that okay, and it will look like a normal flush. But you put a bunch of toilet paper in it, and boy, that pen or whatever it is will snag the toilet paper, and it'll be plugged up quick. So
wouldn't that also stop solid matter if there was such a thing in the trap?
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, possibly. But what I would do, I mean, a plunger a lot of times will open a toilet and make it flush okay, but a better way to do it, especially if there's a pencil or something like that in there, a better way to try and snag that, whatever it is to use a toilet auger, which is a cable made especially for toilets. It's got a spiral hook on the end of it, and a lot of times that will snag something that a plunger is not going to push on through the toilet. And then as a last resort, what you would do if the toilet auger won't get it, the last thing you do, shut off the water, flush the toilet, drain the tank and the bowl, and pull the toilet up and take it out in the front yard and look up inside of the toilet with a mirror from the top and from the bottom and see if you can see anything in there.
Okay. Now, going back to water heaters.
Yeah.
If one has to replace it, and I suppose one of these days we're going to have to replace ours, although we haven't had any trouble, knock on wood.
Yeah.
There's like 10-year, 15-year, 20-year warranty or 5-year. Does it really make a lot of difference? I suppose it does from the price.
I think I know about A.O. Smith, and I suspect other water heater manufacturers are the same way. We sell a 6-year warranty A.O. Smith water heater, and we sell a 10-year warranty water heater, and they tell me that the only difference, the water heaters are identical, same size tank, same size burner, same hot water output. The only difference, they tell me, is in the amount of anode rod protection they put in the water heater. The longer warranty water heaters, they put more anode rod in so that it'll last longer. And so the only thing you're going to get out of the greater warranty is longer lifespan. And so it just kind of depends on how long you're going to be in the house. Frankly, most 6-year warranty water heaters last 10 or 12 years generally. But if you get a longer warranty water heater, then you can expect it to last longer just because it's got more anode rod in it. So kind of have to decide how long you're going to be in the house.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Well, thank you again.
You bet. Thanks for calling. Okay. Yeah, that's that always happens, doesn't it? You start bragging about it. My car has got, like my Toyota. I talk about it all the time. My Toyota Tacoma that I drive for work. It's got 330-some thousand miles on it, and I should have gotten rid of it a long time ago, but it's become a source of, I don't know, not pride, but, it's like, hey, I can't believe it lasted this long, so I keep driving it, and I'm always saying, yeah, 330,000 miles and no problems, and I better watch that, because next thing you know, the transmission will go out or the engine will blow up or something like that. Oh, anyway, hey, looks like all the lines are still lit up, so I'm going to shut up. We're going to talk to Dawn in Olathe, whose furnace is making a noise, looks like. Hi, Dawn. What can I do for you?
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I heard you talking about furnaces, and I started mine up this past week, and I noticed a noise. It sounds like a hamster on a squeaky wheel.
Oh, really?
When it's kicking on, and then it'll go away. But every time it kicks on, it makes that
noise. Okay.
What can you tell me?
Oh, it's more likely than not one of two different things. In most modern furnaces, there are two motors, and it's probably one of those motors that the bearings are starting to go bad. And it's not something that you're going to want to let just go, because you say, well, it's working okay, it's just squeaky, but it'll quit when the bearings get bad enough, and it could quit today, or it could quit a month from now. But generally stuff like that quits at the most inopportune time. It's
of course.
Christmas Day and it's 30 below zero and the whole family's over at your house, and you couldn't buy a furnace man to get out to your house because it's a holiday, and if he will come, he's going to charge you 10 times more.
Right.
Anyway, it's probably the bearings on one of the two motors. The one motor, of course, is the motor on the blower that blows air throughout your house. That's the big motor. And then the other motor that is on most modern furnaces is an inducer motor, and it's a little motor on the draft inducer that pushes air and fumes and so on through the heat exchanger. Either one of them could be making that noise.
So do you suggest that I keep it off until I get someone out there this week?
No, you don't need to do that.
It won't seize up?
Well, it may seize up, but if it seizes up, I don't know, that actually make it easier to troubleshoot.
Oh, okay.
But, as long as it's heating, just leave it on. If it does, like if it seizes up this afternoon, go ahead and shut it off.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so
much.
You
bet. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Dawn.
Bye.
Alrighty, that opens the line. If you'd like to join us, we got one open line. Our number, 576-7798. A lot of times it's difficult to get an open line during this show, especially this time of the show when all the lines are pretty much busy. We do have one open now because Dawn dropped off. But a lot of times you call during the show, you get a busy signal, and I realized that years ago. And because of that, I started giving out an invitation, going to give it out again, and this is an invitation for you to call me, not just during this show, but anytime during the week. If you need a little free advice on a project that you're working on, you don't have to wait for this show. A lot of stuff won't wait for the show. If your furnace has quit heating, you can't wait till next Sunday to call in. You need some advice right now. Anyway, you call me anytime you want to. You don't need to feel like you're imposing on me. You can call me after 5 o'clock at night. You can call me on Saturday, call me on Sunday. And I really don't mind, and I'm serious about that. In all honesty, I'd have to admit that a lot of the calls that I do get are from somebody that just wants me to come out and do the work for them. They either don't have the time or don't want to give up their free time or don't want to mess around with it for whatever reason, and they'll call me to do the work. And of course, I love that because that's how I make my living. But I'm being completely sincere when I say that I really absolutely do not mind you calling, even if all you need is a little free advice on some do-it-yourself project that you're working on yourself. I'll do my best to help you. I'm very easy to get in touch with because my normal business phone rings straight to my cell phone after normal business hours. So really all you have to do is remember one number, which is my normal business phone. And I'm going to give it to you so you can jot it down for future reference. The number is 913-888-0550. Do not hesitate to call me. Don't, a lot of people apologize when they call. They feel like they're imposing on me, but don't feel that way, because I certainly don't look at it that way. And I give out a lot of free advice and information to a lot of people, and I do it willingly. So don't hesitate to call me. Once again, the number is 913-888-0550. So whether you just want a little free advice, or if you want me to come out to your home to take care of a problem, either one, the number to call is the same. And don't hesitate to call me at any time that's convenient for you. You don't have to call Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. A lot of times you can't because you're at work. So anyway, 913-888-0550. And with that, we're going to get back to the phones. We've got one open line here still. The number is 576-7798. And let's see, we're going to talk to Marlene and Lone Jack. Hi, Marlene. What can I do for you?
Well, a couple of years ago, we bought our house, and we've been there 14 years now, and we had bought a water softener from Sears. Well, at about the 12th year that we were there 2 years ago, the water softener gave out, and we had all this stuff in our lines.
Okay.
And so we had to hire, a plumber to come out and remove everything and blow out our lines.
Yeah.
So then my husband would not get another water softener, but the problem with it is the water is so hard.
Yeah.
With the water softener, I just had to use detergent to clean out my stools.
Yeah.
And now I'm having to get that scrub brush and the lime cleaner, and I'm trying to convince him that we need another water softener because it's making it really hard for me to keep toilets clean and even the ice maker that, just everything.
God, you really get used to a water softener, don't you?
Yeah, yes, you do.
The thing I'm having a hard time understanding here is, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Usually the wife is in charge of decisions like this, and if the wife says we're going to get a water softener, then by God, you get one.
Well, the reason is because he pays for everything.
Oh, okay.
And he was so upset about what happened that he just doesn't,
Oh, okay.
doesn't trust the water softeners. But, we're older. We're not going to live a whole heck of a lot longer. And I keep telling him, let's talk to someone and find out what the best one is. And he keeps saying, no. So
yeah.
I may do it on my own. So
yeah, just do it on your own.
So that's why I was calling.
Yeah, the best advice I can give you about water softeners. I sell Marlowe. Marlowe's a good brand, and that's important with water softeners. There are so many water softeners out there on the market that are no-name brands that you never heard of. They're New Soft and Very Soft and Soft, and I don't know. But the problem with those no-name brands is they're probably cheaper, but when something happens to it, where are you going to find somebody that can service it? I see a lot of problems in that area. So my number one piece of advice is don't buy. I mean, of course, you probably never heard of Marlowe either. That's a brand I sell.
Water softeners are not anything that I know name brands on. So.
Well, buy a water softener from somebody like me or somebody that you know and trust, and that's going to sell you a mainstream softener. Also, the good water softeners have water meters built into them. You do not want one that regenerates just on a time clock where it regenerates just because it's been 7 days since the last regeneration. You want one with a water meter in it that regenerates after you've used a certain number of gallons of water. That way you don't regenerate unnecessarily. If you're going on vacation, it doesn't regenerate while you're going out of town for 2 or 3 weeks. On the other hand, if you have a bunch of people at your house for the holidays and you need to regenerate more frequently, then it will. So.
It'll do that. Well, whenever we called the plumber out to help us
Yeah.
do whatever. He didn't even know what we were talking about.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of plumbers don't like dealing with water softeners. It's not.
And all he did was have us open up the lines, and I thought, shoot, we could do that.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make sure everything got out of there. And so, what's the name of the water softener you're suggesting?
Marlowe. Marlowe is a good brand.
Okay, Marlowe is. And where do you find those?
Oh, I mean, I don't know everybody that sells them. Yeah, I mean, that's the brand that I sell, so I sell them. But you're in Lone Jack, so you're quite a ways from me, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe get on the Marlowe website and get a recommendation.
I can get on the website and look that up
Mm-hmm.
and see how much it costs to install it and everything. So,
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You
I
bet.
appreciate your help. Bye-bye.
You bet. Thanks for calling, Marlene.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okie doke. That opens the line if you'd like to join us. We actually have a couple of open lines, and all you got to do at this point is pick up the phone, and you're guaranteed to get in. The number, 576-7798. And let's see. Let's talk to Robert in Wellsville. Wellsville, you're down by me, kind of. I live in Lewisburg, so not too far.
Yeah, you're to the east of us. Not too bad.
Yeah.
This is a quick question. This is kind of as much for my peace of mind. About a week and a half ago or so, I replaced my gas water heater. The other one started leaking and went out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been there since I've had the house, so it's over 20 years old. So,
Wow.
I thought that was a pretty good lifespan on that.
Really.
But anyway, the long and short of it is, obviously, I had a challenge trying to match up the dimensions of the old one to a new one.
Yeah.
And so I picked one out that I was happy with, and my concern is my gas line. Where the old one, the gas line came down, and there was a T with a little short nipple going into the water heater.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the T, just a short piece of pipe to cap it off.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything to match that up height-wise.
Yeah, well, I mean, they never do. They never match perfectly.
Not being a plumber and all the tools to do tapping with and stuff, I used a flexible piece of gas line.
Okay.
And hooked it up. And my big question is, was there any purpose in that T the way it was?
Yeah, there sure is. That's called a drip leg, and the idea behind the T is that gas going down that vertical pipe towards a water heater, if there's any debris or sediment or stuff in the gas line you don't want to get into the water heater, it just keeps going right out the bottom of the T into that capped pipe and ends up there and won't do any damage. And that's required by code. It's called a drip leg. And then the outlet going to the water heater comes out of the side of the T.
All right. So I should put that T back on.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to use my flexible hose just because I don't have the means to measure up and cut a piece of pipe. But
you actually don't have to cut a piece of pipe. You can use. I mean, they make pre-cut and threaded nipples from about an inch long up to about 6 inches long. So, I mean, I personally never have liked flexible connectors on water heaters because if you trip on it, it's you might break it. But
it's up and out of the way, but it's just so long, and so. But I'll take a look at then because I need not just the T going to the water heater, but something to get me in the right length coming down from the pipe because it's the one that was on there before was longer than what I've got now. So.
Okay.
All right. So just do some measurements and buy some pre-cut lengths. And match them up.
That's what I do.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Very good. Good to know. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for the call. Okie doke. That opens the line if you'd like to join us. Actually got a couple open lines here. 576-7798 is the number. If you want to talk to me, you can get in right now. 576-7798. Once again, you're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. And I'm here every Sunday from 11 to noon. If you're just bored to tears on Sunday and you don't have anything to do, you can listen to me. Or if maybe you need an excuse to not not go to church, well, I'm your guy. Anyway, let's see here. Actually, I miss going to church. When Dawn and I were going out, we went to the Lewisburg Baptist Church, and I miss it. I really do. I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but I really miss going to church. I have a lot of customers at that church and a lot of friends, and I don't know. It's good for the soul too, I think. Let's see here. I'm going to shut up, and we're going to talk to Gary in Lexington. Let's see. Hi, Gary. What can I do for you?
Yeah, Dick. I've got a Linux furnace that I built my house about 24 years ago.
Okay.
And it has worked perfect.
Good.
About 3 or 4 years after I had it, Linux notified the people that there was something possibly wrong with not the burner, what do you call
the heat exchanger?
Yeah.
It must be a pulse furnace then.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good furnace. That's what I was talking about earlier in the show. I've got 2 of them still in my office that heat my office.
Well, they notified me and said I had a new heat exchanger coming. I was really impressed with Linux.
And it was free, too.
It was free.
Yeah, they have lifetime warranties to the original purchaser on that heat exchanger.
Now, the question I have, I had to call a guy out about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And those plastic tubes that collect the condensation.
Yeah.
And so forth. I had told the furnace had virtually kind of quit wanting to start work.
Yeah.
And so the guy comes out, and I happened to make a comment, and I said, he told me it was going to be kind of expensive. I was going to have a new lighting mechanism and all this.
Yeah.
But I made the comment. I said, when I walk by this damn thing, it sounds like there's a waterfall.
Oh, you hear gurgling and stuff?
And he said, oh, my God, you just saved yourself a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, a lot of times those little tubes will get plugged up with debris and just accumulation over 24 years. And a lot of times all you have to do is clean those tubes out, and that takes care of it.
I live out in the country, and I got bean field and cornfields right behind my house.
Yeah.
So my question is, how often should I take a look at that thing? Because the people that had installed it had glued everything together. He had to take hacksaw and cut it and put the valve down at the bottom.
Oh.
How often should I take a look at that?
Well, I mean, it lasted 20 years last time. If he cleaned it out good, it'd probably last another 20 years. So, and it'll let you know when it needs cleaned again. It'll, it'll start gurgling again.
It'll start messing up.
Yeah.
And it would be, but it won't be a problem if I just go down there, say here 3 years later, and just unscrew the bottom of it.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Very good.
Okie doke.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call. All righty. Oh, my God. We're out of time here. Hey, Randy and Ron and Terry, you guys that are still on hold, hang on. I will talk to you off the air. I'm just out of time here. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you learned something. And again, if you need to talk to me before next Sunday, don't hesitate to call me on that number I gave you earlier, which is 913-888-0550. Go out there and enjoy this beautiful weather. Find something to do outside. We'll see you next Sunday.
The most